Welcome to another CK3 guide. I'm Alex, and in today's video we'll be talking about succession. So succession in Crusader Kings 3 is a very important topic, and this video might be a bit longer because I'm going to try and cover a lot of different things. And succession, basically, you can manage succession here on this tab, and you have a couple of different things that you need to keep in mind. You have the general law, succession law, and designated heir. Now for this you need to have absolute crown authority, so you can pretty much forget about that, especially early on in the game. And the laws will also require that your vassals agree with you, and you also need to have at least limited crown authority, hereditary rule. This is basically an innovation. So in this case, I'm not able to change any of this stuff because I don't have the necessary innovations, and we're very kind of early in the game still. So if you notice here, you can see that the game tells you who you're going to play as when you die. So if succession happens right now, this is what will happen. So there will be 6 titles lost in succession to my other 2 sons. And then we have a title, which is my highest ranking title, Kingdom of England. This one has its own election that was installed by the previous ruler, so I didn't want to remove it because I kind of want to have it there as well. You can see that in your character titles tab, you can see this little icon that means that the title has its own succession laws. And to do that, you basically select the title, go add laws, and you need to have a lot of prestige. In this case, Saxon Elective, 1.5k prestige. Add law, so I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But what I'm trying to show you is that titles can have their own succession, and that's very good for you, especially early on in the game, because it is the best and easiest way to manage succession without losing titles to other sons and daughters. So there's a couple of different scenarios. First, you obviously want to take a look at all your titles, what you hold. In this case, I have a kingdom title, I'm a King of England. I have 2 duchy titles, and then I have some counties. I have a lot of counties actually, so I'm at my domain limit. So the goal with succession is, at least for me, to pick one of my children. As you can see, I have a bunch of children, and that's great because now we can take a look and see what happens when you have a lot of children. So I have the oldest son, then I have the second one, then I have some daughters, then I have a younger son, and then finally I have the youngest one that's 4 years old. So I have 1, 2, this one unfortunately passed away, 3, 4 sons. And managing succession can be a little bit difficult. But basically the reason why it says that this guy here, he's the second son, the reason why it says that I will play as him is because he is the current candidate in the voting election for the Kingdom of England. So I'm voting for him, and I have some other people voting for him as well. Like, for example, this guy's voting for him. And here you can see why someone will or will not vote for someone else. So when this guy was like a kid and he was unlanded, then pretty much no one wanted to vote for him. And it shows you, like, you can see it says here Clement is totally unlanded, minus 60. I don't know why that actually shows, because he doesn't have any lands of his own. So if I was to give him a county, then he would actually get another vote from that other guy, for example this one, and then this guy would vote for him. But in this case I don't need that because he's already rank 1. My vote counts. My vote has the strongest strength because I'm a king. And if you can just get one other person to vote for you, typically you will win, even on a kingdom level. Now with empires it gets a little bit more tricky because there's even more people and candidates. But you can kind of influence, see what bothers people, why they're not voting for a candidate. You can also get a hook and force them to vote. And that's how you can pass your highest ranking title to a different child, because by default your highest ranking title will go to your oldest son. So if you cannot change the laws or designate your heir, that's what's going to happen. The title of England, in this case, would go to my oldest son, which is this guy. And the reason why he's not getting anything right now, and the reason why he's not even appearing here, is because I already gave him land. And that's the second topic that I want to talk about. So if you want to fix this problem here with titles lost in succession, now I'm speaking from a perspective where you might not even have the voting laws instituted. So with all these default settings, and this is what troubles people, because when they cannot change anything, they kind of get confused. Well, how do I save my best lands and give them to my preferred heir? So in this case I can do that because I have the voting system in the title of England. So this guy is now automatically my heir. So the game treats him as if he was the oldest one, because that's my highest ranking title. So he has to be treated like the player heir. But if I didn't have that, then it would be this guy. He would still stand to inherit the Kingdom of England. But in this case, the reason why this guy is not showing up here and there's no titles that he's gonna get is because I already gave him a duchy that I conquered, and I gave him some counties. As you can see, he has 2 counties, which I actually really liked. So I made that duchy and I gave him the counties, and he is kind of sorted out right now. He got his inheritance in advance, so he doesn't stand to inherit anything else, because if the game was to put him here and give him something else, then all these other sons would not be able to inherit equally, because obviously he would be getting more land in the end, so it would not be equal. Now, with that being said, the way to manage this is to simply land your sons. So in this case, this guy doesn't have anything right now, Prince Simon of England, and I actually might even play like him. He's a genius. He's into martial, and the other one is, I think, that's how I decide who I want to play with. I take a look at their stats, their traits. This one is intelligent, so still good, and their traits. In this case, this guy is mastermind philosopher, so he has 40% extra experience gain. So that's why I'll probably play as him. And he already has super high learning. When I get him a wife that has super high learning, he's gonna have like 40 learning, eventually like 50 learning maybe, when he gets all the perks and stuff. So why is that? Because maybe I want to research my innovations like super fast. So I'm gonna actually keep this guy, even though he's not a genius, he's intelligent. I'm gonna keep him. And the way that I can sort these guys out is by simply landing them. So in this case, if I want to get some of these, actually the first thing that I will look at is the titles that they stand to inherit anyway. So this guy would get the petty kingdom of Cornwall, which is a duchy. So if I wanted to give this duchy to my primary guy, then I would have to create another duchy, conquer some lands and create another duchy. So let's take a look at the duchy map. So I can actually probably create the Duchy of Wessex now, but I have 2 of them here. I just need 1 more to create the title. King Swen holds of the Danelaw. He holds that. And if I create the Duchy of Wessex, and if I give the Duchy of Wessex to this child, Prince Simon, then he will no longer stand to inherit the petty kingdom of Cornwall. So in this case, what I recommend you do is go to your domain tab and take a look at all these duchies. This doesn't mean that the duchy is created. In this case, it is created, my title. But like, for example, Duchy of Wessex here, it's not created. So I could work on creating it. But take a look at all the counties that you hold and see which ones are like the richest, giving you the most armies and gold, where you've been constructing buildings maybe, stuff like that. And try to make like a intelligent decision and decide which counties, or should I say, let's work on a duchy level, because it's easier to understand. Because when you give a duchy title to someone, they will automatically get all the counties as well, because counties are not that important when it comes to succession. When you have kingdom title and then you have duchies, duchies are pretty much the most important thing. So all the counties in this duchy would go to that holder of the duchy, so you don't have to worry about not getting all the counties. That's what I'm trying to say. With that being said, some child might just inherit some counties, and I'll show you how to replace that as well. But basically, in this case, take a look at all your lands. And here we have the petty kingdom of Cornwall. I can see that this is not really making me a lot of gold. So in this case, I might actually want to give that to my child. And I might actually give them that even in advance if I'm like really old. If I'm 57, I'm ailing. I might make it another 5-10 years maybe, and then I'm gonna die. But basically, in this case, titles lost on succession: Petty Kingdom of Cornwall, Earldom of Devon, and Earldom of Cornwall. I'm actually happy with this going to that child, because they're not really powerful. They're not making me a lot of gold and levies, so I'm totally fine with that going to this child. And I might even give them that in advance. I won't really take a big hit, because I might actually have more domain limit freed up to conquer stuff, like for example here in Wessex. So let's go ahead and do that right now. Actually, let's give this guy the title of you can only give the child what he stands to inherit. So I cannot, if he stands to inherit that title, Cornwall, so these two counties, you can see the game kind of shows you preview how much they're giving you. So I'm okay with losing this. This one is a little bit better, but that's fine. Petty Kingdom, this is a duchy. So I cannot give this kingdom to someone else, not a kingdom, a duchy actually, because they do not stand to inherit it. So at the moment, I can only give that to this child. And that's what I'm going to do. So my new domain size is going to be 7. He's going to get a bunch of opinion from me, and I'm going to give him that. And he is now the petty king. He has the Duchy of Cornwall. He has 2 counties, right? And as you can see, I didn't really take a big hit. He's my vassal now, and I might actually even be able to negotiate an alliance with him. So let's take a look. I can create the Duchy of York. So there you go. The game even notifies you when you can create a new duchy. So if I need, which is what I'm going to use now as an example to show you, I can change his contract by using a hook. I'm not going to do that because I like saving the hook for later maybe. Some child my player can marry. I don't like to do that right now. Once I start playing as him, I'll take a look at the wife situation. Duchy of York. Okay, and let's take a look at our succession tab right now. So as you can see, now we have 3 titles that are lost on succession with our youngest child. So he has, he stands to inherit 3 counties, right? He stands to inherit this, this, and this. Now, take a look at what happens if I create this duchy. So I'm not even going to conquer the Wessex one. I'm just going to create this one. 250 gold, create the title, get some prestige. And now I have the petty kingdom of Deira, which is the duchy of whatever I just created. And if I close this, let's see if anything changes right now. We still have one change. We have the petty kingdom of Deira, which is what we just created. Now he's going to inherit the duchy, and he's going to get West Riding, and he's going to get North Riding, which both of those are part of this duchy, right? Why is that important? Because if you remember just a moment ago, here we have the county of Dorset, and county of Dorset, I'm not sure how much it's making me, but let's take a look if we can find it. Earldom of Dorset. Yeah, this one is giving me 2.4 gold per month and 250 levies almost. So Duchy of Wessex, and I get to keep it, so eventually I can create the Duchy of Wessex. So in this case, this is a good thing for me that I'm getting to keep this. This goes to my primary heir now. If you take a look, he's gonna get the Somerset, Dorset, all that goes to him. Why is that? Because we created the duchy. Now what I can do is I can actually go to my domain, take a look at the duchy that I created, Petty Kingdom of Deira. What I like to do is basically take a look at the financial situation, how much gold it's making me, how much levies, and right now it's reduced because of control issues. But basically, that's what I do when I'm inspecting my lands. Like, what do I want to give away to other children? What do I want to keep? Keep the best stuff for your primary heir. So in this case, Petty Kingdom of Deira. I'm going to go Grand 2. And actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to click here on this kid. He is my youngest son. He's also intelligent. So he is going to get, let's see. He's going to get Deira, but I'm also going to give him both of these, because right now they're not even making me anything. So that can all go away to him. And he's now a duke himself. So I've landed all of my children, the male ones. I gave them lands. I gave them their inheritance in advance, basically. And now if we go to succession, you can see that there are no more titles lost on succession. And my guy gets to keep all the best stuff for himself. Now, that's one way of managing your succession. And this, like I said in the beginning of the video, this person would be the oldest son if I didn't have the voting law for my highest level title. So that's very important to understand. If I put a woman here, then that will be a woman. So even though my laws don't allow it, because the highest level title has custom laws, and I can remove that. Sometimes you might actually even want to remove it if you're not able to leave that title to someone, to one of your children, and someone from another dynasty stands to inherit that title, you might actually want to remove it. And in some cases, there are good scenarios when you even want to destroy a title, but that's not that important right now. So, as I said, that's how you can manage your succession by simply landing your children. If there's one thing that you need to remember, is take a look at all the lands that you have, the economic situation, what you want to keep for what child, and then try and get more duchies to give to your older sons, land them, and then the game will take them out of succession, because if they were to inherit some of these lands, then it obviously wouldn't be like a equal partition, so the game cannot give them anything. That's how you can manage it in like a little bit of a harder way. So it's not hard at all. Like, you've seen how easy it is to manage it. You just need to conquer more duchies and give them to your sons. That's it. Now I'm gonna show you an even easier way where you don't might not even want to like conquer other duchies. If you have a bunch of prestige, by simply adding voting laws, you can you don't even have to conquer anything else or make anything else to give to your other sons. And obviously you might want to stop having children. So in this case, my wife is 42, so the chance of having children is not that high. So I don't think we're gonna have another child. Although we did just get another kid, so I could be wrong. So if you spec into learning, you can get that perk that lets you take the celibate option, so you kind of stop having kids. You can try and divorce your wife if your head of fate allows you. I cannot ask her to take vows. Oh, and yeah, there's different ways that you can also remove kids from line of succession. If you don't want to bother, you can spend some renown. Take a look at like a child that you have, and then just go right click and go to disinherit. You will have to spend 150 prestige, 75 renown, get some stress. They get an opinion penalty because you disinherited them. But when you disinherit someone with renown, they're automatically taken away. And the reason why I didn't want to talk about this in the beginning is because I don't like doing that, because unless I'm really making a lot of renown, there's no reason to really upset your kids, make them not part of your dynasty anymore, disinherit them, make them into your rivals. Maybe they might be plotting to kill you. So I like to save my renown for legacies, the bonuses that I can unlock. But if it comes to it, and if you really have to take like the last child, that you would lose some titles, and you didn't have time to conquer anything or give them, then you could go right click disinherit and be done with it. Like, that kid is not gonna get anything, and that's it. Okay, so basically that's it for managing your succession without adding the custom laws, in this case just my highest ranking title. Now, what would happen if I wanted to add laws for the other titles, which I don't have to do right now because I already took care of my succession, but I'm gonna do it anyway just to show you. So go to your ruler, take a look at the titles. In this case, I have the Petty Kingdom, and I have, actually that's the only one that I have, so I'm just gonna do it for this title. Add laws, spend prestige, Saxon elective, that depends on your culture. In this case, you can read all this stuff, who can vote, pass the law, and now this title has its own succession, and you get to vote for anyone that you want. In this case, in this Petty Kingdom, you can see that there's one guy that holding one county, I'm holding another one, then there's another ruler, and then this is also my title, and this is my title. So I have the majority of titles. If I had all the titles for myself in my personal domain, then there will be no one else in the voting system who could vote for anyone else. But in this case, let's take a look at the candidates. We have my son, the one that's going to go for the Kingdom of England, so I'm gonna vote for him. And he's gonna get this... he's rank 1, my voting strength is this much, no one else is voting anything right now. Who else? My son, my daughter, my nephew, and why is this guy here? Because one of those counties is owned by someone else, so if I go ahead and take that county, then he wouldn't even be appearing here, he wouldn't have any right to be voted at all. my daughter, my son, another daughter, my nephew. So if I wanted to remove all these nephews and nieces, all I would have to do is revoke those titles once I pass the limited crown authority law. And I couldn't even use my bishop to give me a claim so I don't get any tyranny for revoking the titles. And then those guys wouldn't even be able to vote. So in this case, I don't need the voting system in that title, but I'm just adding it to show you how if I had all of those other duchies that I showed you, that I gave away to my older children, so the Kingdom of Deira, this one here, if I created Wessex, all of those duchies, if I have enough prestige, I could add laws and basically give all of that to my primary heir. In this case, since Kingdom of Vin, I know I'm repeating myself, but just to make sure they understand, the reason why it's not the oldest son is because he is leading the vote here, and this is my highest ranking title, so he is kind of considered as the oldest son right now, but that's the custom law. So I'm kind of doing like a little hybrid system where I'm using a custom law in my highest title to kind of override who is going to be considered as my oldest heir. So that's why he's here. And then I can do the same thing for all the other duchies. So I could leave everything, all the counties, all the duchies, everything can be left to this kid here if I just added the voting systems and I made sure that I own most of the lands and he gets to be the winner. And I can manipulate that in different ways. So I can pretty much make sure that he's the winner, and everything that I own before I die, I could give to him. Okay? So I hope that's clear. So managing succession, I know it can be a little bit tricky. I know it could be a complicated topic. If you're inexperienced, you just started playing the game. So keep playing with it, keep experimenting. Leave me a comment if you need help. I'll be happy to answer your comment. I'll also do a written guide, so you can go on my website and check that out. It will be in the description below, so you can kind of have a written reference to see how to do it. And you can just keep rewatching this video until it sinks in and you understand. For me, it took me a couple of days to properly understand all the different laws and what you can do in what case. But the basic thing is just land your sons, give them a duchy, and you will remove them from the succession because they'll already have something that they inherited in advance, and then you can kind of manipulate your preferred child to inherit everything else that you want to. So that's it. I hope this video helps you. If you have any questions, like I said, let me know, and I'll see you guys in the next one.